The older I get, the more I realize Omni-Man was correct. I will watch everything I love crumble and turn to dust around me, and there's not a single thing I can do to fight that. What is this all pertaining to, though? Recently, the manga Uzumaki was turned into an anime. Now, after seeing the trailers and the announcement for this being turned into an anime, I was very deeply intrigued as well as waiting with bated breath for its release, for it looked as true to the manga as it could. From the art style to the storytelling to the pacing, it all felt like you were just ripping it off the pages and translating it to the screen. I was also excited because this involves one of my favorite mangakas, Junji Ito, who's known as one of the masters of psychological horror in his storytelling and supernatural beings that happen throughout the horror stories that he tells. And finally seeing him getting a shot at having one of his works translated into an anime, which could very greatly increase his influence and popularity, is always good to see, and it brings a tear to my eye to see it. It's enough to make a grown man cry. But with this, I should tell you the story of Uzumaki before we get into the show. Uzumaki will follow the small town of Kirozo-cho and its citizens as they are plagued by this supernatural curse involving spirals of all things. Hence the name Uzumaki, which translated from Japanese means spirals. Now these spirals tend to have one or two effects on people. Either A, these people see the spirals and they start showing this cult-like devotion to the spirals, to which they even want to become one with the spiral, which is where a lot of the disturbing body horror in this manga comes from, is people trying to devote themselves to this spiral. Or people have a very paranormal approach to it and suddenly start going insane because of these spirals taking over their mind. But this story will actually follow two high schoolers as they try to get to the bottom of it. Kiri and Suichi. They're high school lovers and they really want to know why their town is being plagued by this spiral-like pattern. And as the story progresses, it really puts this tension on them that this is something way beyond their own comprehension or even beyond their own capabilities of stopping. And when you get to the big climax of it all, it really does feel like this David versus Goliath situation, like they're facing some sort of eldritch entity that is way beyond their handlings. And with Uzumaki being turned into anime, a lot of people are hoping that this will open the doorway for other works of Ito to be adapted in the same format. And this also opens up Ito's works to a larger audience that might not have known about him. A lot of people nowadays either read manga or watch anime, with a very small population compared to the two, choosing both. A lot more people watch Dragon Ball than they do read it, and that's just the reality of it. And with this, a lot of people could finally see the beauty behind Ito's works without having to pick up the manga. And this is from my own perspective from reading the manga and watching the anime. I know a lot of people are talking very highly about this anime, but to me it feels like wasted potential. And the words wasted potential are really only targeted at one thing, which is the quality of the anime. In episode 1, it felt like they had all the TLC, polish, and budget for this anime, and if they had stuck up that same quality throughout, I would have no gripes with it. It truly would be a perfect anime. But there's a heavy dip after episode 1. After that feeling of it being ripped from the pages of the manga straight onto the big screen and animated for your pleasure, it takes this huge Cedar Point roller coaster dip in quality. So episodes 2, 3, and 4 either didn't have the budget or didn't have the time, attention, and care that episode 1 did, because the fluidity of the animation goes from very smooth into this almost Microsoft PowerPoint presentation levels of display. You know how some video game companies will try to cut down on costs of cutscenes by making them a still image or like a slideshow of images that the characters talk over? That's sort of the approach they took to all this. It stops being more of a fluid motion picture, and the more you're just watching a storybook at that point. And it really takes you out of this like atmospheric environment that the first episode so desperately tried to set up. It takes you out of this world and you can't help but like chuckle at this dip in quality. But as this goes on, it just gets worse and worse to the point where they're rushing the entirety of the story, where the quality of the story significantly drops. And this is where I have to put a big spoiler. We're going to talk about the ending of Uzumaki. The ending in the manga is supposed to be this very big climax where the spirals have gotten out of control, the cult around it has gotten out of control, and it's become this monster that's way bigger than anyone could ever imagine. And so Kiri and Suichi are, putting up this brave front that no matter what, they're going to try and get out of this town. They're going to try and get out of it alive, in a sense. But the anime basically just goes, yeah, we're screwed. Pack it up, kids. We're done here. I don't want to fight this demon anymore. I don't even want to try to escape. Let's just face it. We're all dead. Let's get some Arby's and talk about it. It's as if you took the game Dead Rising and instead of like trying to save people and trying to get people out of Willamette Mall, Frank just said, "It's a zombie apocalypse. Why are we even trying?" It's kind of like Nick from Left 4 Dead 2 in a sense. It's that very pessimistic look on it all. It's like, well, we're all dead. What's the point in fighting? And it really does just feel undeserved. It feels as though they were just like, we don't want to build it up. Let's just, get to the point we all know. Let's admit these people are screwed. When in the manga, it's supposed to be this more optimistic approach to it, like this very 50-50 of will they make it out, will they not, will they uncover the mysteries of the spiral, will they not? It's all about that intrigue of will they. And the anime just basically goes, whatever you're thinking, it's not going to happen. It's not worth it. And I think this anime just didn't do Ito's work justice. It felt like such a waste of time, a waste of animation, and a waste of a very good manga. And a lot of people were pointing out that the reason this did so bad was because they basically had fired one of the only men who could have animated this or storyboarded it to give Junji Ito justice, which was Hiroshi Nagahama. Nagahama was actually fired during Uzumaki's creation, or before it was actually created, and they brought on someone else, which a lot of people attribute to the storyboard just being absolute dog water. Which is where we come to the analogy of the horse. It started off strong, and then they just wanted to kill it as fast as possible when they were reaching the end. And I feel that if you really want to enjoy Uzumaki to its fullest, just pick up a copy of Uzumaki, whether it's colored or in black and white, it doesn't really matter. It's good nonetheless. Though I do see a lot of people talking about it in good praises, mainly because they can look past the rushed animation and the shitty ending and see it for what it was, which is a good masterpiece that was visually pleasing to look at the end of the day. And I'm not going to say these people are wrong to have that opinion, but I do feel that if they read the manga first and then saw this adaptation, they would have the mixed feelings a lot of other people have. I can praise it for how beautiful it looks, but I can't praise it for its pacing, and I can't praise them for how lazy the story got during the end, and how they basically just gave up at the very end of the finish line. Uzumaki, in my opinion, I give it 5 out of 10, and that's only because I really enjoy the manga, I really enjoy the IP, and the deductions of the points only comes from this adaptation being pure crap. I hope this doesn't stop other studios from trying to adapt Ito's work in the future, or adapt other fictions of psychological or supernatural horror in the manga world to open up more people to these mangakas that have worked hard over the years. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I have seen that people have rated this highly, mainly a 7 out of 10, so maybe, who knows, maybe in the future they will actually bring back people like Nagahama who can do these mangakas justice and make sure that people truly enjoy magnum opuses like Uzumaki to their fullest.